Hello, I'm Nadia and I am co-founder of a running brand and I am also an athlete still training. So I have been taking in a lot of business content as I've grown the business over the last 2 years and while planning it. But I found like a lot of the content online was like really businesses who have made it and who have like loads of staff and like are turning over millions and millions and have offices and everything. And like, yeah, I love hearing their stories and advice, but I thought it was like missing to get some insights from people who are like really in it, still a small business and like figuring out how to grow things and having to do everything and not having the resources of loads of staff and loads of money. So I want to start a new series called How To. So today I'm going to start with how to launch a business and go through all the steps that I took and as well the things I wish I knew and the mistakes I made. So first step of launching a business is planning what you want to launch. I think my biggest advice there is research the market and do not just release something because you think it is cool or you love them or you've seen other brands do really well with them. Do something that solves a problem and also look into the data and look into your pricing and if there's actually a gap in the market. So we launched a running vest which was called Swift Vest, or is called Swift Vest, and it stores your phone and water and is reflective. And the reason we launched this is because number one, I'm a runner and I felt like I could make a really good running product, and number two, because we saw a gap in the market. We just saw they were either really expensive or they just weren't very good. And then also we started by selling on Amazon, which was a bit random, but we did that because the products on Amazon were so bad, and we also saw that people were like really looking for running vests on Amazon, so that's how we started. So I think you need to like really plan what you are going to launch and make sure there's a gap. Don't just release something because you think it's nice, because it's so competitive right now. It's so easy to launch a brand that you need to actually be solving a problem for a customer. So number two is not design a logo. Everyone starts with designing a logo. It is not that. It is picking a name, number one, and then checking if you have that trademark available. I know that's not very exciting, and if you're like starting a really small business, you're like, oh, it's fine, a trademark doesn't matter. If a big company, like, they won't care about you, you're only a small business, but you don't know where this business is gonna go. And one piece of advice I wish I could tell myself a few years ago was like, act from the start like it's going to be a bigger brand than you think it is at the time. So we made a mistake because we just launched a product called Swift Vest and we didn't think of a brand name. So then we had to work backwards 6 months later and call it Swifter and come up with the logo based on that. So don't do that. So number one, come up with your name and then check if it's trademarked and then design a logo. And ideally, I would say try get a branding person, someone who works in brand and design, to help you with the logo. Again, like Canva logos are great, but as a starter, and it's cheap, and I know it's really expensive to find someone to do the branding, but you're going to end up changing it and investing in it in a few years anyway, or even a few months if the business grows. So it's better off to just have that really strong from the start. So I actually am experienced in brand design, so I designed our logo and picked our brand colours and everything, but it was really rushed because it was, again, just for a product. I didn't think we'd have a whole brand, so I really regret rushing that. And recently we have rebranded, and even though I can do all that stuff, I actually got someone in to help me. So we kind of went more in depth about the branding and who we were and what we wanted to convey, and like picked a colour we wanted to go with. So all that I would say focus on a lot at the start, and you will thank yourself later. So number three is building a website. And my advice here is opposite to the branding, where I think you should get someone to help. I think you should build your website yourself. So I built my website on Shopify, and nearly every business owner who sells a product I know uses Shopify, and it's actually so good. This is not an ad, but it's such an easy to use software, and it's just like really easy to learn. And then there's so much help online as well. There's so much YouTube, there's AI on Shopify as well on how to make things. And one bit of advice with building your website on Shopify is I'd recommend buying a theme. I know it's really expensive at the start when you are making a brand because you're not making any money yet, but I think all the good themes are around $300 or $400, and it was really, really worth it. Like, they look so good and they're easy to customize, whereas the basic free ones give you a lot less customization, but again, you could just start with a basic one. So yeah, my website recommendation is definitely build it yourself. We recently redid ours and I love it. I love the process of making a website, and again, if I have a new product or if I have new photos, like, it literally only takes me a few minutes to upload them, whereas if you had an agency, you would have to pay them billable hours every time you want to change a product or upload a picture, and it's just like so expensive and such a time drain, whereas I can fix things now really quickly. So definitely go with Shopify and give it a go yourself. So the next one is cash flow and taxes. Yes, I know, not very exciting, but also like something no one talks about. So a few months ago, had a friend say to me that they wanted to start a business, and they said they had €5,000 to start the business. And that is roughly like what we put into Swifter at the start to buy our first products and do our sampling and register the business and all that. It was maybe like €5,000 to €8,000, which is a lot of money, but it's also not like a monumental amount of money that like other brands use to start. But the problem is, right, cash flow comes in here because if you have spent $5,000 to start your business, but your products are selling really fast, but also not completely sold out, you need another then 10 grand the next month to buy your next products, or before they've even sold, you need another like chunk of money that's probably more than you started the business to buy the next batch of products and pay the next expenses and pay like any other expenses you have. And like, that's basically the biggest problem in business is cash flow, and like no one really talks about that. So it's not just enough to say I have $5,000 ready to start the business and all the expenses and buy the first batch of orders. Like, what happens after that? Where is that money coming from? Is something I wish someone had said to me, and I wish like we knew in advance. So it's definitely been like something that's been tricky. Like, even when the business is going really well, we've been like, oh my God, we're selling loads, but we don't have enough cash to place another big order. So that's been an issue. A lot of brands like talk about investment and all that and the fancy VC and everything and like venture capital, and I don't even know all those words and what they mean that well, but you can get a loan from your bank as well, which we have done in the past, and it's a lot like less fancy. You can just get a loan from your bank if your business is good enough. There's also like loads of funding available in Ireland that helps small business owners in different areas. So yeah, there's other options to do things. So the other area in the whole money side of things along with cash flow is VAT and taxes. So yeah, VAT in Ireland is 23%. So the easiest way and least painful way to look at it is you never had that 23%. It's something you built into the cost of your product. So you cost your product in how you want to like pay for your expenses, the cost of the product, the shipping, the margin of profit, and then add this 23% on the top, and then just consider the fact that you have to give that away then. I think it's every quarter. Our accountant and James does that side of things. But yeah, so I think it's least painful if you just never look at it like you own that 23%, because if you're looking at it oh, we made this much this year and now we have to give away 23%, it's incredibly painful and like you won't have the cash. So you need to reframe it that you never own that 23%, and there's no way around it. There's literally no way around it. You have to pay that in Ireland. The taxes and VAT rates are different in every country, but you just have to pay that money. So the easiest way is to build it into your margin and make sure it doesn't bankrupt you or drain your bank when it comes. So finally, the last part is marketing and actually selling your product. I think people get really passionate about the product they are creating and it takes months and everything, and then they forget that half the battle is actually selling it, and that's the whole point. So yeah, on marketing, a few things I have learned is I think when you're starting a business, try and do as much of it yourself as possible. There are so many marketing agencies. They email us like literally every single week, and we have worked with different agencies and stuff like that, but I just like, it's really expensive. If your brand is just you, if it's small, if it's you and one other person, it's really expensive to work with an agency and you can have really mixed results. And I would just recommend by starting off and not giving yourself like that couple of thousand of sunk cost every single month when you're such a small business, and try and do it yourself. So that would be my first piece of advice. So next is social media. We are so lucky to be in a time of social media because it is free to like launch your product, and it's literally it's incredible. Before you used to have to pay for a billboard or like expensive TV ads and stuff, like the fact that you can launch a product now and get 500,000 views for free is incredible. So definitely use that. So I would just go with that whole like behind the scenes founder approach, to be honest. If you're low on budget, it's just like the easiest way to do things. Definitely not something I feel I've nailed, but it's something I actually enjoy doing, and particularly on TikTok, that is like really, really hitting for us. Even though our account is still small, when we just pop on and like say product problem we have, or like show our new products, it really works, and it actually does sell products. Like you do see it work. So definitely lean into social media as much as possible, and if you're not good at it, find someone who is good at it to help you, and just film as much as you can, and yeah, try and post as often as possible. Again, it's something I struggle with, but it really has helped grow our business. Another thing about social media is it's not always measurable. Obviously, like you get analytics from your website, and you get analytics from Meta ads and from TikTok at what directly sold through social, but often like we're in store as well, and we're also on Amazon, so we actually can't track all of that. I don't know why someone went to store to buy our products often, but I did recently go in, and someone told me that loads of people were in store asking for our products, and the manager said it was because of social media, which is like so nice to hear, especially when we have like quite a small social. Like it has 7,000 followers. It's not huge, which again is like a good sign to show that you don't need to have hundreds of thousands of followers to have a successful brand. So yeah, I think you can't measure everything, but just the more you get your brand out on social, the more people will be invested in the brand and ultimately buy from you. Another part of marketing that is not really spoken about and people kind of sleep on is email marketing. It's actually like a huge revenue driver for most like businesses that sell online, and it's pretty crucial for us as well. So we use Klaviyo, and that is what a lot of people use. It is kind of like the standard Shopify plugin app that you can use for your emails, and it's pretty easy to learn how to do your emails. I design mine on Canva, and then I drag and drop them in. I definitely could be a lot better and send them out a lot more frequently, but most importantly, what we do have set up is flows. Again, lots of YouTubes out here on exactly how to do them, but basically if you go onto a website and it says like sign up for 10% off, basically you will receive then trigger a flow for that customer, and they'll receive their 10% off, and then the next email might be a follow-up to remind them to use the 10% off. Then the following email might be, hey, this is our brand, and then the following email might be like, this is why our product is great. And then eventually you have a flow set up for that. You have a flow set up for if a customer goes onto the website, enters their email, enters something in their cart, and then doesn't actually check out, there'll be a flow set up to remind them to buy that. So yeah, that's just how it works. And then also, of course, like newsletters, campaign stuff, we have new products in, an email about that, an email about product features. They're kind of separate campaign emails, but those flows are really what drive like a lot of revenue, because people click onto your products and click onto your ads and they forget. So you need these email reminders. So definitely do not forget to set up a Klaviyo account or any email provider account when you set up a brand. Final part of what's worked for us marketing wise overall is just be sound. Sounds really, really simple, but I think we have gotten really far by, if a customer reaches out to us with a problem, yeah, it costs us money to send them a replacement, but just like replying to them nicely and sending them a replacement, and recognizing that that cost is probably going to work out better for you if that customer is really happy with your service and recommends you to 5 people then, rather than that initial like sunk cost of you sending out a replacement. So we try to answer like all customer emails. We try to reply to messages. If someone tags us wearing their product, we try to like reply to stories and stuff, because I actually think we've gotten really, really far with word of mouth. Obviously it's not measurable, but people do message us saying they're recommended to us by a friend, stuff like that. So it sounds really, really simple and basic, but just be decent and just try to be a sound brand, and it actually really, really helps. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a lot more I could go into on marketing, particularly like community, like social ads, everything, but the truth is I'm still figuring all that out. But at this side of the business and the size we're at, that is what has worked for us so far. So yeah, that is kind of the basics for how to launch a brand and how we launched a brand. Definitely didn't do everything right, but they were the things that really, really worked for me. And yeah, if you have any other topics you want me to cover, or any other areas you want to talk about, or any questions for me, I would love to hear them, because I want to keep making these videos. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope it was helpful.